Hello guys and welcome back. In this video I wanted to talk about how the data is structured in Houdini. And Houdini is a huge application. It can do so many different things. For example, you can create geometry, you can shade that geometry, you can render the geometry, you can create any kinds of dynamic sims, you can destroy it, and each of these topics is huge by itself. So side effects from the beginning came up with this context idea, and each of the things that we do in Houdini is done under a context. So for example, if we wanted to create some geometry data, we will need to use the SOPs context. Okay, and SOPs stands for surface operators. If we want to create some dynamic simulation, anything, smoke, RBD, or any kinds of sim, we need to be in the DOPS context, and it stands for dynamic operators. And each of the things that we're going to be doing, for example, if we want some shaders, shading, there is a shop context, which stands for surface operators. And side effects designed this so that the data in Houdini is very well organized and structured. And everything we're going to be doing in this workshop is going to be primarily in the geometry data in SOPs. And when we go to shading, we're going to be using the shading context, and for rendering there is a rendering context called ROPs, which is rendering operators. And inside these contexts there is still a more structure to it, which is basically a folder like structure. So let's say we wanted to create a house. We first create a geometry node, which is a placeholder for our data. Then we create a box inside. We create a grid for the base of the house and create some windows. Okay, and this is the main inputs. Actually, let's remove this window. So we create a box for the wall and grid for the base of the house. Now let's say we wanted to change this box or make holes in it. We process that, we add more surface operator to it and take that box and mix it with a smaller box to create a boolean, for example, for the windows opening. So we can add a boolean, and that will create holes in this wall. And we can continue processing this data and combine it, but it's all under the geometry node context. Let's say we go to the rendering context, which is the ROP. We want to render the house by itself, so create a mantra node, which is the default render engine in Houdini, and with this render node we tell it only to render the house. We can create another render node, and this time we're going to pardon me, render the background, which is the sky with the house used as a matte in it. And this is how the data is structured in Houdini. We're going to see this in action once we learn a bit about the application, how to navigate in it. We're going to learn how all these things work together, and as we progress through the weeks, we're going to learn various different nodes of the SOPs context, shading, rendering, and we're going to be, by the end of the workshop, we're going to get to a very good level where we have a very good understanding or a deep understanding of how SOPs works in Houdini, and a lot of shading and a lot of rendering. Hope this makes sense, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.